Welcome one and all to pre-season testing at RLH. I apologise, at RLH, and we're here with the new C6 category. We have, I believe, 8 brand new drivers to RLH. Or was it 8 brand new drivers to RLH making their debuts? 7 brand new drivers in this category here today, and this will be the first chance for them to get out on track. And we'll see who is going to have the best run of things on the new game. Also get a feel for how some of the new guys are in the process as well. As the first guy out on track is currently Florica, as we get a lovely shot of some tents. Who else is out on track? We got Amaz, one of the new drivers in the McLaren. Kalau also out on the mediums as well. And Maverick in the AlphaTauri, another new driver on the mediums. What on earth has happened here? There we go, much better. Camera angles. And we'll see how some of the new guys fare at the moment. Florica currently the furthest driver around on the track, and he'll be the first to set us up. We've got 11 guys for this first C6 race. I believe it is the first time we've had 6 tiers in F1 at RLH, so it's very interesting to see how some of the guys get on. We've got a few cars in the pit lane, maybe just making few last minute adjustments to their setups and whatnot. And as we're on board with Maverick, spoke with him down in the paddock earlier, and he was saying he's still getting used to the new game. He took some assist offs, I think, from last year, but getting used to trying to increase difficulty for himself and maybe try and find a bit more speed as well. For his upcoming season, he's looking just to have a good competitive season, regardless of finishing position. And Australia as a racetrack, he said he's got ups and downs. It's not one of his favourites, but definitely not one of his worst. So he'll be looking to maybe try and find some good pace around here. And we'll see what he can do. Oh, and Ferguson's the wall. Bit of an incident. I think it might have come together with Bluey, another new driver in the Williams. He's on the medium tyres, just on an out lap. We don't know what's happened down there, but look, I think he's going to have to abandon this current run. We'll see who's the furthest round starting a lap. Well, we're on board with Asmith in the McLaren. Another one of the new drivers. Another driver I managed to speak to before today's race, and he's here to have some fun. He's just starting league racing, his first league race, well, officially today, whilst it being a pre-season race. And in the first sector, he's doing a 27.3. That's a good time for the first sector for the driver in the McLaren. And we've got a lot of cars on flying laps now as well. He said the Australian track feels pretty good, but it can be tough on tyres, especially that front left. Corner exits are crucial to have a good speed on the straights. Overtaking might be difficult, so I'll just go with my own pace and try to attack drivers when they make mistakes. So looking for a nice clean race, I think, is Asmith. And we'll see what time he can do. I think Calais is going to be the first driver across the line on the medium tyres, as Bluey just starting his lap on the mediums as well. And I think the main strategy here is either sort of soft to hard. You can maybe get away with a softer medium, but it's going to be quite a push, I think. And as Calais finishes, he's at 24.4, and Asmith, as he comes towards the line, he's just going to nip ahead by 0.6 in total, and he goes to a 1 minute 23.8. Good lap. Maverick just pipping Calais there, goes into P2, and the times are coming in now. Got Big Bear, just a little lock up into the penultimate corner. Danjay right up against the wall, giving it everything as well. And Pete, unfortunately, has invalidated his lap, and also Annoyed Gamer sets his first time, 27.2. I've got a bit of work to do at the moment to catch up to the guys in front. Looks like Big Bear's had a moment down at turn 1. Invalidated this lap already. Bluey, 51.8 for the first 2 sectors. We'll see where that puts him in a couple of moments' time. He's making his way towards the end of the lap. Prince is going with Claypole Ipper wants P1, but he's not in the race. Oh, and it's a big moment there for Bluey as he comes around the final corner. And towards the line he goes into 6th place, just behind Annoyed Gamer. Bessie unfortunately invalidated his lap. We got Riesbeer on a lap at the moment, and he's just making his way towards the end now. Heading towards that penultimate corner, but he's run a bit too wide. It's very harsh on track limits this year. If you take all 4 tyres outside of the white lines, you get an invalidation, and it's a lot harsher. We just saw it there. He just got onto that exit curb, and unfortunately for him, his lap is invalidated. Maverick seems to be doing a couple of runs on the mediums. He's getting for feel for the track, or maybe going again. He's got the ERS back up to 90%, so we'll see what he can do. Is anyone else on a lap? An Annoyed Gamer going for another lap on those softs. He looks to be just getting a few laps in, getting tuned in to the track, and I think that's just the Ferrari on the outlap getting out of the way. Maverick just behind. See what Annoyed Gamer is. 1.9 seconds down in the first sector, so maybe this is an in lap for the driver in the Red Bull. As Danjay goes across the line, it's a 25.2. Big improvement for him in the Haas. I think a lot of these guys are quite new to league racing, so I feel like we're going to see rapid improvements, I think, across the whole field as everyone gets tuned into the game and used to this sort of racing environment. It's very different from just playing sort of casually on your own, or my team or something like that. Racing in a league online, it's a different feel to it almost, and skipping out experienced driver in comparison to the rest. He's actually the most experienced driver in the field. 76 races to his name. A best finish all time of P4, but the only one I could find when I had my look, he got a P5 in season 6 in the C4 at Monaco. So we're hoping to use that experience today as Maverick goes on to provisional pole. A brilliant lap on the mediums, 9/10 improvement, and he seems to be one very much getting tuned in to the Albert Park circuit. That puts him top of the timing sheet. It's an old medium, so it's a very, very good lap indeed. 4:10 clear at the moment. And Dante just backed off at the moment. Skipper coming towards the end of his lap. 50.4 through the first 2 sectors is a decent time as things stand. Have to see as he makes his way towards turn 16, the final corner. Opens DRS, keeps it within the track limits, importantly, and towards the line it's going to be a 1 minute 23.8. He goes into P3 on those softs. Oh, we've got the Haas. Danjay maybe just think he's on an in lap at the moment. See who else. Florica, 27.4 for the first sector, looking to get their first laps in Pete though. 49.8. I don't think we've seen a car into the 49s yet, or not one that we've been on board with, making his way through turn 13. Also, that's the end of one of the 3 DRS zones on this track. And now down towards the penultimate corner, turn 15, heavy braking spot, down into second gear. And going towards the final corner. This looks to be a very competitive time from Pete, but he runs a bit too wide. I think he's not going to get invalidated there. So gets away with it a touch, but towards the line it's going to be a 1 minute 23.3, and that puts him onto provisional pole by just over half a tenth. A very good lap from the Red Bull driver despite that mistake right at the end, but Farica into the 1 minute 22. That's a very good lap from him. And you've got to say, he's also another driver with a bit more experience in comparison. 22 races to his name. And Skipper's invalidated his current lap. If we look at the more experienced guys for a second, you've got Clay, 30 races. And then Farica, 22. Skipper, 76. And Pete, 60 as well. They've got a little bit more experience in this league. I mean, I think quite a few of these guys, is their first appearance in league racing at all. Got Big Bear just coming towards the end of the lap, making his debut in RLH. Of course, these won't count to their sort of statistics, if you like. It's just a pre-season race, but good to get a feel before we go to Austria in 2 weeks' time. That's where the first race is, and we got Riesbeer just starting his lap, DRS open as he runs towards the line. But we'll follow Big Bear, and then flick back to the Alfa Romeo driver just behind, just to compare their sector times through that. McLaren driver gets the car slowed down, bit of a lock up, but holds it very well and keeps a nice line through turn 3 and then 4. flat out now as he makes his way towards the end of the first sector. It's going to be a 27.3, and that is a personal best, I think, for him. The Alfa Romeo driver just behind. We haven't got a time for him. We do now, and it's going to be a 27.9, so a bit of time to find the Alfa Romeo driver in comparison to the McLaren. But Big Bear making his way towards a very, very difficult corner. Albert Park, the 11-12 chicane, very, very easy to lose the car. And he's another driver in the 49s who's finding really good time for that middle sector and utilising all of that exit curve, keeping the car flat out now as he makes his way down towards turn 13, getting the car slowed down into fourth gear. So sometimes I see drivers using third gear, but opting with fourth gear this time around. The McLaren driver comes towards him. Up corner, we've got retirement, and he's speaking of how difficult that 11-12 chicane is. Riesbeer out of qualifying with 7 minutes left to go, didn't get a lap in. And see, it's maybe pushing it a little bit too much as Big Bear comes towards the line. He goes into P2. It's a 23.2 for the McLaren driver, and that's a very good lap to put him currently on the second row of the grid. Calais on a hot lap at the moment. He's got Bluey and Asmith just behind there, both on hot laps though. Calais a 10th up, is a 27.4 for the driver in the Williams. Of course, he used Williams in the Asia Cup last time we saw the F1 cars on track. Of course, on F1 2019, not F1 2020. Calais the only car on a flying lap at the moment, and he's making his way towards this very tricky chicane, gets the car down into 6th gear, keeping nice and tight. He's 4 tenths up at the moment, avoiding that inside curb because it's very easy to invalidate your lap or lose it, as we saw Riesbeer do. Played a lot of curb on the inside, gets the car thrown in there and out towards heavy braking zone of turn 15, gets the car slowed down nice and tight on the inside. And now how can he take this last corner in 4th gear, getting the power down as quickly as he can, and DRS towards the line. The instant line is going to be a 1 minute 23.2, and he goes into P2. 1.2 second improvement, so big improvement from those mediums. And as been on the lap, but he's invalidated it, unfortunately for him. Does he have enough time to come in and go again? I think he might just have enough time. And who's the other car on a lap at the moment? Dan, 40 of him, he's done the exact same thing. And frustratingly, he might have the same issue. Invalidated his current attempt, and he might just have to go again in a couple of minutes' time. Bluey just starting a lap. Can he replicate what his, well, I wouldn't say teammate, but can he replicate what the other Williams driver did and put himself right up at the top of the leaderboards? Gets the car slowed down. Almost a bit of a double lockup, really pushing it on the brakes and making his way through turn 4 now. Through very difficult turn 5. Keeps it flat to the floor, and that's a very good run through there. Big improvement, 1.1 seconds. It's a 27.5 for Bluey, and this could be a very competitive time if he can get into the 1 minute 23. If he can keep finding that improvement, we could see a very good lap here from Bluey. Guys are very closely separated at the moment. A lot of guys in the 23s and top 5 all separated, second to 5th, separated by less than 2 tenths of a second. Bluey though, 1.5 seconds up now. He's finding the time. Is the Williams driver. Oh, that was very aggressive in there. Very aggressive, but he's got it absolutely spot on at the moment. Keeping the lap valid, and I'm sure finding a lot of time. Going now towards the penultimate corner. What can the Williams driver do? Bit of a lock-up as he's pushing to the max. Coming around the final corner, I think he might be able to get another lap in. DRS towards the line. And what's it going to be? He's run out of deployment. It's going to be a 2.4 second improvement. It gets him just into the 24s. He's a little bit behind Annoyed Gamer, but he manages to jump Dan J, who currently on a lap, not had an ideal first sector at the moment for Ricker. Almost 2 tenths up, so looking to go even faster is the Ferrari driver. Have to see how he fares as he makes his way into the pit lane, actually, so maybe going for a new set. There's actually another driver I spoke to. Maverick, actually. I'll tell you what Fricker told me in a minute. But Maverick coming towards the line now. DRS open on the run down towards turn 1. And he says a 1 minute 22.9. He just pips Fricker. That's a very, very good lap from Maverick in the AlphaTauri. Fricker was saying from pre-season he wants to get himself acquainted with the new game, the new dynamics, and he's looking to maybe try and get a bit more practice in than he did in the Asia Cup, and hopefully try and climb up sort of the pecking order. The skipper's invalidated his lap, unfortunately, so might have to just back off and go again. But Fricker, from the first race, he said he would like a clean race with no tactical driving mistakes. Even if that gets him lower on the board, he doesn't want any risky manoeuvres, and learning is more important than finishing position, is what he said to me. Pete, just maybe starting a lap now in that Red Bull. Very nice as he works his way down into turn 3. See how flat out he will go through turn 5. Go on board with the Ferrari driver, and he almost losing the rear end there, but he held it very, very well indeed. We'll have to see what his split times got. Fricker's on and out lap, so he'll be looking to challenge Maverick for that time right up at the top. But a very interesting, there's a lot of guys very closely separated. So we've got 2 guys at the top very close, and then this sort of battle between 3rd and 5th very close. And Pete, what will his middle sector be looking like? He's 4/10s up. Pete is finding the time at the moment, and this could be a time for provisional pole, but he's second guessed himself and he's out of qualifying. Pete into the wall, and we saw on board he almost I think he took turn 11 a bit better than he thought he could, and second guessed himself going into the next one, and unfortunately for him, he is out of qualifying, so he will finish on a 23.5. We've got skipper just backing off, and I think that could be his qualifying over as Danjay gets past on and out lap. A lot of guys tactically trying to be the last cars out on track, and Calais might have a quick bit of a push to get towards the line. A minute left in the session. Hopefully he'll be the last car to run towards the line. Just keep an eye out to see whether he can get towards the line. Florica, I think, will be the next car to start a flying lap. And then it looks like Big Bear after that, and then his McLaren teammate Asmith, and Maverick's out as well. Where's Maverick out? I think Maverick might have actually retired in the pit lane, so no worries there. We'll go on board with Big Bear. We've got Fricker just up the road. We'll check his split when he gets to the right moment. A little bit of a lock up on the inside there for Big Bear, but very nice and tidy through turn 1, opening the DRS and pushing all the way down now towards turn number 3. Keeping it all nice and together. Fricker towards this split. He's 2/10s up at the moment, so that's looking very good for the driver in the Scarlet Red Ferrari. What can Big Bear do though? He's up as well, and that's a very similar time to Fricker, so if he can find the time, Big Bear, this could be a very competitive lap as well. And Asmith just coming towards turn 5 now. You see from the mini-map in the bottom right, Big Bear's taking a bit too much curb. Fricker's almost 4/10s up. He's found time. He's gone very, very deep into turn 11, compromised himself for the next one, and his lap is invalidated. So Asmith's going to be the next car to cross the line, but he has also invalidated his lap. What can Danjay do? He's on 3-lap old softs, 1.1 seconds off the pace of his provisional, sorry, of his previous best. So I think you've got Clay's managed to start his lap. He's a 10th up. He's the only car I think on track at the moment which can set an improved lap time. So no pressure to Calais. Current best finish in RLH of P5. He got that in Russia in the Asia Cup last season. 3/10s up at the moment. This could be a very good time. Yet to start on pole. Onto the curb, and that's lost him. Another driver's invalidated. It's very, very harsh this game. But amongst the guys currently situated in the C6, we have no pole positions between them. 2 podiums and 2 fastest laps across the field. So I think we can have a very competitive field of people looking to battle at the front, maybe for the first time. A lot of new guys coming through as well. And I think C6 could definitely be one of the categories to keep an eye on this season. Of course, we're going to have more than 11 drivers when we get to Austria. But so far, close field. And I think a few guys, you know, starting to dial themselves in to the new game. We'll see who comes out on top for the 29 laps around the Albert Park circuit. And then Robert saying track limits very harsh, sometimes too harsh. I have to agree with that, but I mean, it is the same for everybody. We have to remember that. Like in this new feature, I found this out the other day, so we're on board, we can have a look back on other cars. Very impressive from Maverick out front, making sure he doesn't get too far away. Good laps from Big Bear, Pete and Asmith, and must be say, everyone setting pretty decent times around Albert Park, but I think track limits is something we definitely have to watch out for in this new game. I did a league race last night, and because I didn't have any penalties, I jumped from 8th to 2nd as I crossed the line, so quite harsh here in Australia when it comes to penalties, it must be said. But yeah, once again, as I said earlier, it's the same for everybody. Everyone's got to abide to the track limit rules, and we're just waiting for the timer to tick down. We will get ready to go racing for the first time in the C6. I will be your commentator for hopefully all. Oh, and Bluey's got a 5-place penalty. I think that was over a little collision at the start of the session, so that will put him in P11, I assume. See, a very close field, 9 thousandths between the top two. Maverick really taking the fight to some of the more experienced guys. But some good pace up and down the field. It'll be very interesting to see how race pace is for some of these guys. I think, you know, unless you're sort of, you know, if you're coming from the more casual side, I think, well, from my experience when I played it casually, it's, you know, you play a lot more 25% races when you do career modes or things. So, you know, a 50% races, it's a long time. You know, the race is 45 minutes long, 45, 50 minutes long. So it can be very interesting to see, you know, maybe the experience comes out here a bit, as the guys get used to racing 50% races where you're pretty much pushing from start to finish. But all the guys starting on the soft tyres, whoever starts in P11 is going to have the free choice. I think that was Riesbert. Maybe he'll opt for something different, maybe try the alternate strategy, maybe start on a medium, maybe start on a hard, and hopefully we won't have any safety cars or issues. Todd, wishing the guys good luck, and I think we should see a good race here today. You know, it's going to be it's a small field, but so the 11 guys are going to give it absolutely everything. Experience throughout, and one of the drivers that unfortunately can't be here today, but Broke Gorilla, currently unavailable this week, but will be here next week. He was saying that he hopes to do better this season because he only got 1 point finish last season, and that was a P7 in the Baku Asia Cup C5. But we're ready to get racing. Robert is multi-row ABC from C3. So yeah, we've got dry conditions here today. Maverick leads them around the formation up in that very striking Alpha Tauri. We've got Fricker in second, Calais in third in the Williams. He's opting for the Williams, it seems like he was in the Asia Cup last season. Big Bet in the first of the two McLarens. Pete in the Red Bull. Asmith in the other McLaren. Skipper in the Renault. Annoyed Gamer in P8. Dan J in P9. Riesbert in 10th. And Blue in P11. Now we just have a quick look at the tyres. Everyone but Riesbert on the softs, and there is our predicted pit stop strategy. It's either a one-stop soft to hard or a two-stop soft medium. So we're going to see what people go for. Hard tyre, you know, some people just don't get on with it, so maybe we'll see a soft medium, and you never know. A safety car, a VSC, could make that strategy a little bit more favourable. We'll get ready for the start now. Running wide on the formation that was Bluey. There's the predicted pit stops once again. I think it gives you detailed ones for each driver depending on their tyre wear. So that's interesting to see who we were, you know, for who we were on. So I think, you know, some guys might be going, oh, very deep there from Big Bear. Guys making sure they got the temperature in the tyres, and we'll get ready for the start of this race. Maverick taking them now towards the line, and we just wait for the last couple of cars to round the final corner. as we get ready for the first race in the C6, the first ever race in a C6 category here in RLH. So great to see we're expanding. And it'll be very interesting. Who's going to take the first ever, whilst it's not a sort of official race, who's going to take the first ever win in a C6 race? And we just wait for Bluey to line up in his grid spot. Maverick will be awaiting the lights, which will appear very shortly indeed. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go in the C6. It seems to be a very strong start for the Red Bull on the left hand side. Maverick's got away well. The McLaren's, one McLaren falling back a touch, and further back for into P2 Oldham, but it's a great start for Calais, who actually gets into P2. The leaderboard's not actually showing the full story, and everyone seems to have gotten away very cleanly. Looking further back, McLaren trying to hold on, but Pete keeps that position. Dive on the inside from the Haas driver. A bit of wheel banging between him and Skipper, but Skipper losing out on that occasion. And Bluey trying to find places around the outside of turn 4. They go into turn 5. That, of course, they have to line up in single file once more. And a very clean first lap, so fair play to all the guys. Can be very difficult down in turn 1. But I think the order's starting to sort itself out. Maverick's got a 1.1 second lead out the back. And into the wall is Annoyed Gamer. And Reese Beer out as well. And that has called out the safety car as he's taking a small trip across the grass. So real big gainers in that first couple of laps. And front wing damage for Annoyed Gamer. I think he might be a little bit annoyed. Didn't quite get the full picture of what happened between those two. But fortunately out of the race. It seemed to be Reesby apologising for that incident in the YouTube chat, and not intentional, just on lap 1 with very difficult cars, all very much bunched up. But into the pit lane comes Maverick as a bold strategy call for the current race leader. Calais stays out, Hooker's staying out as well. Into pit lane comes Pete. He doesn't have any front wing damage as well, so bit of a strategy call further back. Any cars pick up a bit of damage. I think we're going to see Annoyed Gamer into the pit lane as well, but it's hard tyres for Maverick. Pete has opted for mediums. That's a very interesting strategy. I don't think you can go to the end on mediums. So trying something different, maybe expecting something a little bit later on. Maverick, interestingly enough, going for hard tyres, maybe committing to the end now. Of course, he was the race leader. Right at the start, had a very good start indeed. So trying something different, utilising the safety car, and Calais leads the race, followed by Florica, then Big Bear, then Dan J, Skipper, Bluey, Asmith, Maverick, Pete, and Annoyed Gamer, 2 Rebels, 9th and 10th at the moment. So far, Florica and Calais using their sort of experience to their advantage, but of course Maverick will be leading. We didn't come into the pit lane. That's a bold move, and I'll be very interested to see how that plays out over the coming laps, especially around the pit stop phase, which you saw a moment ago was sort of around lap 9 to 11. Well, speaking of the pit stop phase, 9 to 11 or around lap 8 if you're going for that 2 stop. So very interesting to see. I'd love to be able to pull that graphic up sort of manually rather than it just sort of randomly appear. I think we'll have the safety car in the next lap, so that will allow Annoyed Gamer to close up to the back of the pack. He's on the hard, he moves on to the hard tyre, so be interesting. And there is the pit strategy once again, powered by AWS. Yeah, so if you're going to the mediums, you're going to pit sort of, I reckon 12 laps. Oh, and Maverick's got a time penalty further down the field. I've noticed this as well this year, and he's got wing damage as well. That's going to be very annoying for him. He decides to stay out. Pete diving to pit lane. He's got big front wing damage in the Red Bull. And I've got to say, one thing I've noticed on this new game as well, it's very, very... I mean, last year it was super harsh under the safety car with penalties. But this year it's even more harsh. Any collisions seem to result in time penalties. And front wing damage is so easy under the safety car as we concertina up. But it's part of the learning process. You know, as we just see Dan J giving a little tap to Big Bet. And there we go. I mean, it was a tiny tap from Danjay, and he'd been given a 5-second time penalty for that collision. And yeah, I must say it is a little bit too harsh. But just like track limits, it's the same for everybody. So you've got to be careful. I think honestly, under the safety car, can be a very, very difficult period to manage. The concentration. You know, normally you think you can sort of relax for a little bit, but make sure you keep the temperature in the tyres. I've noticed that as well. They drop off very quickly, and it's quite hard to keep the temperature under the tyres. Under the safety car is going quite a bit slower. Yeah, what I'm saying is, you know, often the car ahead gets the penalty too, and yeah, it's yeah, I've seen that as well. It's even so, for example, in that incident we just saw there, Danjay did get the penalty, but I've seen it before where Big Bear would have got it. I don't know, maybe because the game would have seen it as a brake check. I mean, of course he did not brake check him. I'm not suggesting that at all. But you know, if a car would have, the car in front would have got it, maybe that's what the game thinks. But it's very interesting to see how they've done it. Pete managing to close up to the back very quickly, and bit of tapping there again, as it's very difficult in these slow corners. And see, there we go, Big Bear gets a time penalty for the contact between him and Dan there. And yeah, I think it's, you know, this is why we have pre-season. This is why all into the pit lane we have Asmith and Maverick as well. I think getting rid of a bit of front wing damage as well. Be interesting what tyres he goes on to. We're going to Asmith. What tyres is the McLaren driver going to? He's going to hard, so he seems to be going to the end of the race, serving a penalties. That is a good call from him, utilising this period. And I think maybe Maverick doing the same as a nice double front wing, so double the downforce. AlphaTauri guys doing a good job and putting back in the race. And will this make the safety car stay a lap longer because these guys are a bit far behind? They probably should catch up, because you know the safety car, of course, is not as fast as their Formula 1 car, and it does go quite a bit slower in the slower corners compared to what we're used to in the F1. But yeah, I think, you know, this is what pre-season's for. It's the guys to sort of understand the new game, what it's like in a race scenario, you know, under the safety car, what penalties are like, you know, how you have to act in, you know, this sort of environment. Because it's very different to AI. Of course, AI, they're given a code and whatnot, but these are, you know, racing against other people. The safety car is in this lap. See, the two guys at the back have already closed the gap up massively, and Calais will become the effective safety car now. He'll let the safety car jump ahead, and you can see just behind Farika, Big Bear, Danjay, all waiting to pounce and try and get themselves further up the order. And maybe some of the guys giving a bit more room, because you know, you start to understand that you don't need to be ridiculously close. Calais not letting the safety car get too far away, keeping the guys relatively spread out. And we'll see when he decides to go. We'll get Mr. Telemetry very quickly. And he's ready to pounce. He can do it right off the final corner. And he's onto the power now. Clay is away. Farika's got a very good start indeed. He'll have to look further back the field, but the Ferrari driver looking to make a move down into turn one. He's up into overtake mode alongside the Williams driver now down into turn one. They're going to go side by side on the brakes. Bit of contact, but he just has to back out. That allows Big Bear to get past. And Farika maybe just dropping down the auto touch, and into the wall goes Skipper. And the Haas driver of Danjay trying to have a go. Don't forget, a bit too far back at the moment, and Skipper losing touch a little bit. Annoyed Gamer just behind. A bit of a dive there from Maverick, but he can't find a way past on this occasion. Bluey close to Danjay at the moment. But holding on. Oh, and running wide there is Danjay. And that allows Pete to slide past and move himself up the orders. Only front wing damage, no front wing damage. I think there's a lock up there for Bluey. Keeps it on the black stuff. And we've got a right battle at the moment between Pete and, oh, further back actually, Skipper battling away. That's not Skipper, that's not Skipper at all. Skipper fighting away with Danjay. And Maverick on the back of Asmus, who's on the back of Annoyed Gamer. He can't find a way into turn 11, surely. A very hectic restart. Very great. Oh, an gamer almost in the car, and he's into the other two. Completely unavoidable. He's still in the race though. And further up the midfield, Pete has managed to get past Bluey as he's had a moment. Skipper and Danjo almost coming together in that moment as well. And Asmith, I think, is keeping ahead of Maverick as he's lost 2 positions. Calais is the fastest lap of the race. Danjo gets a time penalty for track limits, and Asmith into the pit lane after that collision with Annoyed Gamer. Of course, he just lost it out of turn 12. Very, very easy to do. And unfortunately, the 2 cars behind had nowhere to go. But Maverick, good pace at the moment. Trying to make his way back up the order on those medium tyres. Of course, the further we get into this race, the more the soft tyres will go off. Bit of lock up from Bluey. Oh, what a big moment there for Maverick. Unfortunately, no one behind to pounce on that mistake. See the gap starting to spread out. And Calais, 2.4 second lead out front. Big Bear keeping it in touch, and well, you look behind, you can't see anyone in front, you can't see anyone behind. Big Bear doing a good job in that McLaren. Florica just behind. And Pete is maybe starting to close in a touch on him. Skipper after that turn 1 incident. Doesn't he have any wing damage? Got a bit of wing damage, and he's got end fence damage on both sides of that Renault. And that's going to compromise him a touch. We've got a car off. I think that's Annoyed Gamer on the fresh softs. He's just come in for new tyres and retiring from the race. Calais sets the fastest lap of the race. Really good pace from the Williams driver at the moment. Slowly increasing that gap as we've got DRS enabled. Yellow flag in sector 2. That's for Annoyed Gamer. Unfortunately, retired from this race. Skipper into the pit lane. And Maverick closing onto the back of Bluey now. Not quite close enough to have it go into where Bluey may be running a little bit deep. We're going to see overtake mode in action here. Not quite, maybe Bluey using, neither of them utilising it at the moment. And going down into turn number 3. They remain in the order they were. Pete really closing onto the back of Florica at the moment. We'll have to see how they get on as they're now under a second. Was DRS enabled now. So currently on to lap 7 of this race. 2 laps after the safety car came in, but gap at the top. Calais slowly building that gap. Now 3 seconds. Bit of lock up from Bluey. Keeps it on the back stuff though. And Maverick pushing now. Let's try and close up. Overtake mode not in use for either of them as they go into turn 11 and 12. AlphaTauri versus Williams in a much more aggressive line through 12 for Maverick. He's got DRS now as they now run down towards turn number 13. He's trying to go around the outside, and he's got ahead as they go into the corner. And that was a good pass for P5. And the gap's about a second further up the front. It's over a second and a half. And Brent saying he's very impressed with the improvement of Calais since sort of when he joined RLH. Of course, that was 30 races ago, and making big improvements. But of course, there is still a long way left to go in this race, and cars on different strategies could come into things towards the end. We've got a yellow flag. I think that's Danjay making a small mistake. Only a little bit of wing damage for him, but maybe struggling to touch on those harder tyres. Of course, providing a little bit less grip. We're getting the gap down to underneath a second between him and Big Bet. Big Bet flying the flag for the debutants here today, up in P2. DRS for the Ferrari now. That's going to help him close in. Of course, 3 DRS zones on this lap makes it very easy sort of to stay with the car in front, but still, even with the 3 DRS zones, even with overtake, it is quite difficult to find a way past. But it's a big lock-up for Big Bear, and he's actually coming into the pit lane now. Stop on lap 8, and Frigga is following him in. Staying out seems to be... Oh, and he slowed down very quickly, and into the back of him goes the Ferrari. And that's wing damage for Ricker. He's going to get a new front wing. He's going to get a new front wing straight away. I'm not sure if he was already planning that, or the Ferrari boys acted very quickly, but fastest lap of the race for Maverick, and he's starting to make the charge on those mediums. Maybe can he go medium to medium, as Bluey into the pit lane as well, down in P6 at the moment. But I think we could see a very interesting battle start to form between Maverick and the guys who are in front of him. Of course, he can go a little bit longer into this race, maybe opt for another set of mediums. He's got 100% overtake available to him. Skipper says the fastest lap of the race. He's got very good pace, opting for the soft, so maybe a driver committing to a two-stop. Actually, yeah, of course he's committing to a two-stop. You can't go 20 more laps on the soft tyre, but currently in P6 at the moment, as with currently in P7. Blue just behind him on fresh hards. I'm seeing Big Bear managing to hold on to that effective P2. And Fricker still within a second now, so this battle is going to go, I think, a long way into this race. Big Bear putting up a good defensive performance at the moment. The skipper does have very good pace at the moment on the newer softs, and into the pit lane comes the race leader Calais. What will Pete do? Pete's staying out on the mediums, of course, so he can go a little bit longer into this race after pitting on the first couple of laps. Maverick stays out, of course, as well, and I don't think we're going to see, I think, on those medium tyres, you probably want to be looking to maybe try and extend the stint for as long as possible, so you can have go on to mediums once again, assuming you have a fresh set, or a set that didn't do very many laps in qualifying. But initial assessment, I think we can. Pete gets a time penalty for track limits. Of course, we have discussed they're very harsh this year. And speaking of Pete and track limits, I think he's had a moment and missing a bit of front wing. We saw the two-stop strategy open on the right-hand side just there, but Pete, bit of an error, and that's going to allow Maverick to close up. Slightly undo some of the good work that Pete did. I think maybe just running a little bit wide on the exit of turn 5, and that could have sent him into the wall, it seems. Calais keeping it nice and clean at the moment. I think we can, if we looked on the field, I think it's, you know, a fair assessment would be, you know, the guys who got a bit more experience in league racing, you know, competed in the Asia Cup or last season at RLH. I think we can see that. You see the experience coming through, but you know, that's something the newer guys will get very quickly. And having 2 weeks of pre-season at two very different tracks, you know, we got Australia this week. As Pete comes into the pit lane, I think expectedly with that wing damage, get it slowed down on point. But Cloud will now overtake him and regain P2 on the track, using overtake as he wants to get close to Maverick as he possibly can. You see, will Pete get out ahead of Big Bear? I think he's going to lose out a touch. Of course, this is ultimately a race for, you know, this is full position. But I think that that little spin down at turn 5 is going to cost Pete, and he's going to lose out. Maybe even Skipper as well, but I think Skipper is going to definitely have to pit again. Guys further back, Aswin Bluey having a good race in P8 and P9, and Danji on the softs at the moment going. He's got good pace at the moment. I think a few incidents haltering him a touch. We'll have a look at the fastest laps for some of the different drivers. And you can see current leader in terms of fastest lap is Skipper, 1:26.5, utilising those mediums to full effect. But a lot of guys in the 1:27s, as they start to settle into a bit of race pace, and as the fuel load comes down, of course, we'll get a little bit closer to that, you know, so where they were in qualifying. We'll never fully get there, you know. Don't turn the engines up as much. You're not flat out on ERS. The tyre wear as well. A lot of the gaps. I think gaps just over a second. That's a nice camera. I do love a camera angle shot, which is sort of from a helicopter. On board with Fricker, who's, you know, in the battle for P2 with Big Bear. Currently, of course, they're out front. If you have a look at the gap to the leader, of course, that's currently Maverick. The gap is 22 seconds between Fricker and Maverick. So it'll be interesting to see where he feeds out. I'll have to keep an eye on that gap, I think, as well. See if it comes down. Is it going up? Is that all? very evenly paced, it must be said. Just a few incidents sort of separating the field at the moment. Pete on those hards, looking to go to the end. Can he try and get involved? Currently 30 seconds off the leader, 6 seconds to Skipper up the road. And our Skipper soft starting to fall away. We got 24 seconds between him and Maverick. And I think it's coming down a touch, but that gap is actually going up between Maverick and then Big Bear and Fricker, so maybe trying to utilise as much as possible. It's fluctuating quite a bit, but I think slowly making its way up. See if Maverick comes to the pit lane this time around, stays out for another lap. So he probably do sort of 12 to 16, 17 laps on those mediums, so maybe trying to go for another set of mediums later on. Extend the stint and have to keep an eye on these gaps as they are. Good guys, some further down the field. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3 though, and Peter's out of the race. There's a little lock on there from Asmith, and we've got a virtual safety car. Peter's under traction, just gone towards the left wall there. That's unfortunate for the Rebel driver, who was looking very handy in this race. And that's the first of our returning faces getting a DNF here at Albert Park. And under the virtual safety car, no one really being able to take advantage of a pit stop. So, yeah, we've got the 4th, 3rd and 2nd all on the hard tyres, and I'm going to the end. Bluey doing the exact same. He's in the battle with Asmith, who I think might have to pit again, but we'll be looking to make a fast late charge, or maybe some mediums. Maybe try and stretch some soft tyres. I think Maverick can do that, definitely. I reckon you can do 11 laps on a fresh set of softs. A little bit deep, and oh, Big Bear's got a drive-through penalty. And again, that is, I mean, in a race I did yesterday, I got a drive-through penalty as well. So it is very easy to do. When the safety car, virtual safety car ends. Oh, and into the wall. Into the wall goes Big Bear, and into the wall goes Florica. So what was the battle for P2? I think that's on cold tyres. Another big factor, I think, in this year's game. When you slowed the car down, cold tyres make it very, very easy to spin the car. And he's coming into the pit lane now for a set of mediums, so trying to go to the end. And I think Big Bear is maybe going to be forced to serve the drive-through. No, he's not. Front wing change for the McLaren driver as they serve a penalty, it seems. A Skipper gaining from this, but I think he's going to have to pit again, being on soft. We've got another virtual safety car. I do not know what for, but we have another virtual safety car. And Calais will be wondering what's going on at the moment. Maverick will as well, but this is helping Maverick because they're not as harsh on tyre wear at the moment, being under the slower speed, so he can go a little bit longer and then utilise the softs at the end potentially. We're going to have a very interesting battle forming for the top step on at the podium. But of course, it's a pre-season race. Points, doesn't count points, but it's a good indication to see where people are at. And of course, the current tiers aren't set in stone, so we could see maybe some new faces in the C6. We could see some people leaving as well if they get promoted or whatnot. So under virtual safety car, we're going to get going on cue perfectly. They're going to get going now, and Clay gets away very well indeed. Maverick as well. Good to see that AlphaTauri livery. Got yellow flag in sector 3, and it looks like that could be. It looks like it was for Bluey. He seems to be all intact. Bit of a lock up on those hard tyres, but gets away with everything pretty fine. But Big Bear and Florica on the fresh mediums, going to the end now, see what they can do. They can close up some of the gaps. But of course Big Bet has to serve that drive-through penalty, unfortunately for him. Danjay keeping nice and clean, and I think he's slowly starting to make inroads on the cars in front. But unfortunately a few incidents for him has put him further down the pecking order, and I think he would have wanted to be, but of course pre-season. And hopefully he can find a couple of improvements. That I've noticed his fastest lap time is coming down quite a bit, so I think just getting in tune with the track and getting used to what things are like. Of course that's what pre-season is for. But very interesting to see so far. Let's have a look at ERS management up and down the field whilst the gaps are a little bit more spread. So we got Maverick on 100%, who I haven't seen him use it yet. So, oh, yellow flag in sector 3, and that's Bluey out of the race. He's lost it on, it seems to be 11 and 12. We see him there on the left-hand side. And look back again. So that's really unfortunate for him, and it's a yellow flag. I don't think is that going to turn into a safety car? Doesn't look like it. So he managed to get away with out of virtual safety car or safety car. But unfortunate for Bluey, after running a very good race, it was in P5. But yeah, we'll go back to a bit of ERS, because that's another. I think that's another big factor, because I reckon it's more hard. It's harder to save ERS in this year's game, because there is no sort of none setting. It's either medium or overtake. So Maverick, I feel like he isn't using overtake. I haven't seen him use it yet, and he's right up 100%. Clay doing a good job, 63%. I think tactically using it on the pit straight. Skipper 71%, so maybe doing a bit of the same. You see Asmith using it now actually. Trying to get a boost out of the corner. It seems actually going to 8th gear. So, oh, we got another yellow flag. Who is that? Oh, into the wall goes Fricker. He's out of the. And we got Danjay, I think, had a moment as well. And he's lost a bit of front wing, with Fricker's out of the race. Albert Park Circuit taking a few prisoners here today. And I think we caught very much the end of Florica's incident. And coming out turn 5, I think maybe running a bit wide on the cold tyres. Virtual safety car. Running wide on the cold tyres. As into the pit lane is Skipper, getting rid of those softs, utilising the virtual safety car. Danjay also in the pit lane, doing the exact same thing. But yeah, they're very, very difficult. And DRS is enabled with racing once again. A very difficult circuit, I think, especially this year with the track limits. And on cold tyre, just sort of understeering a little bit wide, and getting onto the grass and then losing the rear. And unfortunately for him, into the wall on the right hand side. Nevertheless, still got a good battle forming right up at the front. And we'll see how things develop. Because battle for P1, I think, is going to be very competitive between Calais and Maverick. Of course, I spoke to Maverick. He was saying that he's taken a few assists off for this year, so he's looking to use pre-season to try and find good race pace, having them off. And he's looking to be competitive regardless of position. I mean, position so far is looking very good at the moment, but Skipper, I think, is going to be the car on the charge, and that virtual safety car's helped him out quite a bit. And he's now 6 seconds behind Asmith, who's on 11 lap old medium tyres. But I think whilst the obviously then all the guys are quite a bit spread out at the moment, this might be good for them just to get some laps, consecutive laps under the game in race conditions, rather than time trial, on the online cars, and utilising a bit of ER, utilising a bit of overtake mode. I'll keep an eye on that gap for the race. But so far we've got 4 of the remaining 6 new to RLH. And we've got 2 drivers that have been here before. And if anyone's got any questions, happy to answer while we have a little bit of a lull for action. If anyone wants to add any comments about what they think about the race so far, drop it on the stream, and happy to talk through them while we just watch a bit of running around the upper part of the circuit. But Big Bear got the pace at the moment at 25.9. That's a very good lap from Big Bear. He maybe using a bit of ERS and trying now to reel in some of the cars up the road, because Asmund's going to have to come into the pit lane at some point. You would expect. I think Maverick as well, might be coming in this lap. I wouldn't be surprised if he came in this lap. He's just making his way out of the first sector and down towards the braking zone of turn 9 and 10, sort of a chicane. Quite an important one that opens up onto the lap. And Flucker just saying he saw someone crash in front of him and might have just had a coming together with someone. Not too sure who that was. Big Bear gets a 3-second time penalty, pushing it to the max. And Prince saying he doesn't need to pit at the moment in this race. He can go to the end on those mediums. I think this might be very difficult to go that long on the mediums. I mean, it is doable, but I think he's starting to close that gap. The younger hards, I think when we get to laps sort of 27, 28, 29, I think it might be close. But gap in 10.5 seconds, and Skipper also reeling in Asmund at quite a rate of knots as well, as tyre wear starting to come into effect, and the guys having to deal with managing the tyres under traction on the brakes. Maverick's staying out for another lap, so yeah, you can go to the end on the mediums. I quite like to pit the softs, mix it up a touch. If he's comfortable out there in the lead, and he's not overstretching the tyres, not using overtake at all, it seems. Yeah, well, if he pitted for softs, he definitely would have to catch up. But I think softs versus hards, towards the end, we can see the pace Maverick has at the moment. I think it's definitely doable. Also, I mean, of course, we're not competing for the fastest lap here today. We're not adding points on. That could be a good way to get the fastest lap as well, getting that extra point. Yeah, taking his hard on this track. I just feel like with the fresh softs, 3 DRS zones, he managed to find a way past. And also, if he started using overtake mode as well, that might help him out. I think at the moment, yeah, 10.7 seconds. The gap is sort of staying where it is. It might be a good call just to stay out. Be a very good job indeed to win this race if he can stay where he is. But Skipper making the charge at the moment, looking to try and get onto that penultimate step on the podium. We'll see what kind of defence Asmund can put up. 11 laps is a difference in tyre wear. He's starting to get DRS now. He's the running driver. Actually, Asmund's into the pit lane. Maybe he's opting for a set of softs. I think going for that sort of stereotypical what Jeff would suggest. He's got a big gap behind, and maybe playing the sensible card, which looks like going for a set of mediums. Maybe playing the sensible card. I think he can see that Skipper is catching him up quite quickly, and thinking about his ultimate race time, and maybe trying to go for a fastest lap point. The gap very close between the top two. Clay using overtake as much as he can, trying to find the speed. Yeah, I think the gap is also, it's as I said earlier, right, different gap. It's fluctuating a touch. It's slowly making its way up, and yeah, actually, I've held my hands up. I think I was wrong there. It might have been a better call to stay out. Of course, I don't know what penalties they're running, so you might have to serve a penalty in the pit lane for a collision as well, and that will put him even further back. So more work to do in terms of catching up. And as things stands, staying out I think is probably the right call. Clay runs a little bit wide, and into the wall goes the Williams driver, and he might want to pit now. Maverick, and a bit of wing damage for Clay, and I think that is going to be into the pit lane for him. It's going to be interesting between him and Skipper. We've now got a virtual safety car for that incident. I think mediums making 25 laps is, in theory, you wouldn't want to do it, but in practice, it's probably doable. And I wouldn't be surprised if Maverick comes in this lap. You know, he'll be able to see the gap between him and Clay has got much bigger, as DRS is now enabled. The gap now being 28.9 seconds. I would not be surprised if he does come into pit lane now for a set of softs, utilising, and he does come into the pit lane now. Here we go. So we're going to see soft tyres, I reckon, for Maverick in the AlphaTauri. Gets the car slowed down nicely enough and makes the way down towards the AlphaTauri boys. And it is soft tyres for him. And also, is he serving a... No, he's a little bit slow on the Clay. He might even be coming out behind Skipper, and struggling a little bit with that wing damage. Gap 35 seconds out in front of the moment. Clay only just coming into the pit lane, and Maverick leaving it, and I think Skipper's going to inherit P2. Asmith pushing now on those fresher mediums. We'll see what he can do. But yeah, good strategy call from Maverick. And you know, before that he would have been realising that he's keeping a good gap, so not wanting to make the risk of pitting, and now he's got the big gap. He can come in fresh off to the end, and he'll have good pace and maybe even go for a fastest lap point. But Clay probably going to go for the same push and maybe try and get that fastest lap. And he's got Asmith not too far behind on those they're only 1 lap old mediums as well. Look at the gap out front, 21 seconds at the moment. 6 drivers remaining in this race. As if nice and smooth at the moment. Yeah, 5.4 between him and Clay. On those fresh softs, I think. Going to be pushing to the max now. And Skipper happily in P2 at the moment. I think we might have to keep an eye on the fastest lap count. So I think we're going to do up into overtake, and now he's using overtake is Maverick. And we might see a push for fastest lap. He just set fastest final sector. I'll get up his lap data to have a look at this lap. I'm hoping for big things on this lap. No pressure for Maverick, making his debut in RLH and looking very, very strong at the moment. First sector time 6/10 up at 28.1. That's a very good first sector under race conditions, and we'll see what he can do now. Going through this middle sector, getting the car slowed down into second gear. Nice bit of inside curb, and getting on the power as quickly as he can, running right up against that wall. Now you go alongside the lake and into this tricky 11-12, a second up at the moment, giving it everything on this lap. Clay might be doing the same as well on a push lap now. I think they're going to have a sort of a battle for fastest lap, as the gap between Clay and Asmith, I think, starting to creep up a touch. Maybe not. Asmith making sure he doesn't get too far away. Maverick coming towards the final corner now. Will it be fastest lap? Surely overtake towards the line. He's going to bolt towards the line now. What will the time be? It's going to be 1 minute 24.7. It's a 2-second improvement from him, and he sets the fastest lap of the race, checking out front, and he looks to be having a very strong first race in pre-season. Skipper in P2 at the moment, looking very good. I think Clay might have had a small mistake there, because Asmith's closed about 5/10 on this current lap. Of course, there's only pre-season testing, so I'm sure when we get to it's another purple sector from Maverick. He's not mucking about at all. Yellow flag, and I think that's Danjay maybe having a small off just after the turn 11-12 chicane. and getting past quite cleanly there is Big Bet. McLaren's currently in P4 and P5, and Maverick, he's 10th up at the moment. He is pushing at the moment, not holding back at all. That's good to see, very good to see. That's what we want to see, and I think, you know, for the, of course, it's only pre-season at the moment, so we're going to have a much bigger grid when we get to Austria in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks today. And there is Daniel just making his way into the pit lane. Get rid of that front wing damage of Maverick now towards the line. We're not seeing overtake again. And towards the line, it's going to be just under 2/10 off, and it's a 24.9 for him. Clever's found 6/10 on the first sector alone. That was a 28 flat, a very quick time. 7/10 up now as he goes towards the middle sector. And setting quali laps as we race towards the end of this Grand Prix. But yeah, I think we're going to see a very, very competitive C6, no matter who's in the field. Because I think we're going to have a lot of new guys to league race. I mean, I think as the current tiers are lined up, there are 7 not new people, 10 new. Calais across the line, it's a 25.2. Big improvement on his personal best lap, but not finding that fastest lap on this occasion. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of improvements across this season, no matter who's in C6. And I think, you know, being a new game as well, we're going to see improvements on that side of things as well. So I think it's going to be a very interesting season, and we could have a very different winner from the first race to the last, as people get used to the game. And of course, over a long season, you get to tracks you're good at, and you might have a few weak tracks, you know, maybe 2 weak tracks in a row, and that puts you on the back foot. Big Bear coming to the pit lane, so maybe looking to go softs and just get rid of some front wing damage as well. So we could see another push for fastest lap from someone else, but the gap between the top two currently 27.5 seconds. Yeah, hat-trick. I mean, yes, he is. Maverick currently on for a hat-trick in his first RLH race. I'm pretty sure it won't go on the statistics on the website, but I mean, that would be very impressive, getting a hat-trick in your first race. If he's new to league racing, first league racing, getting a hat-trick. But yeah, first race at RLH, getting a hat-trick. But Big Bear might try and stop that on his next lap. I think he's going to get 1 lap to do it. Currently 1 lap down, if I'm correct. He's only 1 lap down, so he's going to get 1 more attempt on the next lap to have a go for that fastest lap. And yeah, Maverick just taking things a bit more easier at this moment in time. Skip controlling things in P2. Calais has closed the gap, but I think, you know, with how long was left, it was going to be a very tall order to get back up into P2. And Big Bear coming into the final sector. But I am your commentator for the C6 this season. I'll be here for hopefully all, but definitely most of the races. I'm very much looking forward to getting the new season underway. Yes, Brent confirming it won't go onto the stats pages on the RLH website, so you've got the streamer's proof that you had the good result with Big Bet looking to go for this sort of fastest lap. I'll see what he can do at the moment. Yeah, Rob, I have to agree. Been a very strong race, but purple sector in Big Bear. He's looking to maybe try and take this hat-trick away from Maverick and utilising overtake a little bit more than I think Maverick did, and putting that Renault engine to full use, and the ERS system as well. And Big Bear second up. It's another purple sector for the McLaren driver, and he's got this lap hooked up to perfection. Super clean through the turn 11-12 chicane. And Maverick's hat-trick could be coming to fall. Of course, if this was a race, Big Bev would be getting that point. He's currently in P5. He's now derating. He's used up the amount of ERS he's allowed on this lap. So hopefully he can get a good enough launch out the final corner. Bit of short shifting. And now onto the main straight. What can he do? It's going to be very close, I think. He's going to be at 1 minute 24.8. He's not quite got it. And that is very close. If he had that, he'd been a little bit more ERS. I think he would have had it, yeah, 10th and a half between those two. I think maybe even on the run to the line he would have found the time there. We're backing off and around, have another go if there's time. But Maverick making his way now. He's actually up on his lap, so he's looking to improve. Using overtake now as he runs alongside the Albert Park Lake, and almost 2/10 up. Wow. Any doubts of losing the fastest lap surely are gone. And he's making his way down towards turn number 13. And he just has the final couple of corners to navigate. He's got the McLaren of... Is that Big Bet? He's got the McLaren of Asmith just up the road. But Maverick will round the final corner and take the first race win in C6, the first race win in pre-season testing, and looking very strong going into the new season. And he gets the fastest lap as well with 24.6. It's a very strong lap. Skipper will come home in P2 if he avoids any couple of any little mistakes here and there. But a good race for Skipper. I think a few incidents at the start, but he's managed to get into a good rhythm since then. And ERS around the final corner. Overtake mode towards the line. And he will come home in P2 for the Renault driver. Clay coming around the final corner as well. He's up at the moment on his personal best time. An overtake towards the line. Doesn't look like going to be improvement at the moment. And Asmith just the last car to come around, but he is on another push lap. 7/10 up on his personal best. How's he 7/10 up? That's mega stuff. We'll change it back to fastest laps. He's on a 26.2. He actually pitted for softs. Completely missed that. Got confused with Big Bear for a second there, but trying to make a late charge for fastest lap. He's got enough overtake to use towards the line. But he will come home in P4. But yes, a very, very good race from Maverick, and looking very strong coming into this new season. And he loses out on the fastest lap. He loses out on the fastest lap. I get an achievement. I don't think you'll be able to see it on the stream. It says grab the popcorn. It's the first time I've spectated a race. But driver of the day goes to Skipper. Most places gain. Good race from him, getting P2, but I think it has to go for Maverick. Complete control. And he's very happy indeed there. Classic little celebration as he picks up the trophy. The first one dished out in pre-season for the guys down in C6. The man holding the Greek flag. It's a very strong race, and you would say faultless. You would say faultless. Can't think of any errors he made at all. I don't know if any penalties we're going to see now. Not even a penalty. Losing out fastest lap by just over attempt to Asmith right to the death. But a very good lap for Maverick, and a very good race for Maverick, and that rounds out the C6 action today. And of course, that is the first week of pre-season testing done at RLH. And of course, we are in France next week for the next round. Of course, the first race is in Tuesday, and then we'll be rounding out the action here once again with the C5 and C6 on Thursday. 7 o'clock start for every league race, so a nice time just after you've had dinner or whatnot. But if you guys keeping it nice and clean as well, so that's also good to see. Track that's very difficult to get penalties, not too many up and down the field, so I think the guys will be happy with that. But we'll see. Looking, France next week is a very different track. I don't know how harsh penalties are there, but of course we'll have that all to learn next week. And I guess the benefit of me commentating C6 is I've left the lobby completely. The benefit of me leaving, commentating C6 is the fact I raced 2 days prior, so I've got a bit of knowledge about the track and maybe strategy and whatnot. So thanks everyone for watching today. I hope people have enjoyed the stream. You know, it might not have been the most chaotic races, but that's pre-season. You know, pre-season F1 is never normally the most exciting time, but we've learned a lot, I think, today. And thanks everyone for joining. Of course, we'll see everybody Monday for GT Sport. I think we've got the Sunday races being streamed as well, so that's something to look forward to in the Red Bull Juniors. And yeah, in France next week for round 2 of pre-season testing. So thanks everyone for joining.